Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Helpful Entrepreneur and another episode of Hang Out With. And tonight it is Ben Chen. Here we go, Mr. Investor out of New York. I'm in Toronto, he's in New York. And we're going to get to know Ben tonight, to ask him a few questions about his types of investing. If you have any questions for him, make some comments along the side there. And I'm going to throw out some questions for him as usual. So let's get this party started. And Ben, first question for you is, when did you start as an investor and what type of an investor are you?
Started as an investor maybe like 10 years ago, around like 10 years ago, because I'm a fairly young guy, so I think I started pretty young. What type of investor am I?
And what type?
I'm majority into real estate, and I just literally started stocks maybe like 2 weeks ago. So I mean, I dabbled a bit in stocks before, but like I never like put too much money into it. But now in the past 2 weeks, I've been putting more, and after the news right now, I'm putting a lot more into stocks. So yeah. So I mean, right now, majority of my net worth is definitely in real estate, but I'm gonna start going more into stocks in the coming days. As for when I started, around like 10 years ago, when I got my first property, that's when I started investing. Before that, I was always really into entrepreneurship. So, I was into entrepreneurship since like I was 7 years old. Like I started really early. Back then in like second grade, I would buy like candies wholesale and then start like selling it to classmates during snack time, making a little bit of money there. And then like I went to like just like selling things online like fairly young as well. So I think it's like I always had this mentality of like I need to make money, and that transitioned to investing. That's why I started at such a young age, because when I was growing up, my family was like dirt poor. Like my family had absolutely nothing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually like first generation in America. My parents actually emigrated here. I was born here, but like my parents came here. They had absolutely nothing, no education, no money at all, and we kind of just like scraped by. So I think that was like one of my driving forces to really like value money, like know the importance of it. I mean, it kind of sounds sad, like for a kid to think like that, but I think that kind of like shaped me in a way, like that's how I see it, like making money and investing as like such an important thing.
Yeah, so true. So true.
So like what do you want to
Okay. All right, you're ready for your next question. I just want to say hi to everybody here, and throw any questions that you guys have got for Ben. We're definitely going to talk about what's been going on in the markets later on. Like, this is just crazy times with the coronavirus. Holy mackerel, the market is just dropping like we would believe, by a great rebound day today. I think it was 11% overall. Hey, you want to say hi to everybody? Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Ryan. Began to fit. Thanks for showing up. All good as always. Thank you guys. I'm going to scroll through everybody here. Everybody check out everybody else's channels. We're a community. Go and subscribe to others. If you're watching this later on, watch the stream at the side and go and check everybody's channels out at that point. So let's first talk about you being an entrepreneur, okay, a bit more in depth. And then we'll talk about your real estate. And then we're going to talk about what's going on in the markets, because this is right now huge. So as we're saying earlier, just backstage about the markets, this is just unbelievable times right now. So first of all, you being an entrepreneur, let's touch base on that. let everybody know about everything that you've done as an entrepreneur over the years.
I mean, do you want me to like start from the very beginning?
You can tell us, you know what? You can tell us
Yeah,
what,
I
you know,
mean,
how did you learn to be an entrepreneur? You know, you say you're first generation, you're born here, there in the States, you know.
yeah. So
How did
when
you start making money as an entrepreneur? Put it that way.
I mean, I remember just, I think because my upbringing was so rough that like it made me value money. So I would always think about, you know, how to make money. Because as a kid, I remember like my parents, my brother and I, we lived in like a tiny like studio apartment in New York. It was barely like 400 square feet. We had like we were basically like crammed in there like sardines. So
Nice.
it was just
Nice.
like really like rough to go through. So that's why I feel like that influenced me to value money a lot more. So even as a little kid, like I said, when I was in like second grade, I was already, you know, buying candies wholesale and then selling it to my classmates. And, you know, as like a 7-year-old, what else can you do, right?
Yeah,
And then as I got a little older, you know, I started playing. I played a lot of video games as I started getting older, and then I started realizing, you know, video games have their own sort of like little economies in there. So in the game itself, I would make money in the game buying like items that were popular and then reselling it and making basically like, you know, you've probably heard of like flipping items in real life, but I was doing that within video games and making a lot of money in the video game currency. And then I would use that video game currency and sell it to people for real life money. Like people spend a lot of money on video games and like digital items in those games. So as I was when I was younger and, you know, I didn't have many, you know, you can't really buy real estate when you're like 10 years old. So that was
a little too young for that, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty much what
Maybe
I was
11,
doing.
but both cutting it though, you know.
You know, it's just like, you know, I always had these ideas pop up into my mind, and you know, I just tried a lot of things out. I remember in high school. Do you guys remember the PSP? It was a Sony game console.
Yep.
I had a pretty decent business back in high school because I used to tinker with them. So they were about like a couple $100, I think like 200 something dollars. So I would buy broken ones from people for like $20 off of Craigslist. I would post up a bunch of ads every single day buying broken PSPs for $20. And then when I had multiple broken PSPs, I would take the working parts from the broken ones and then like kind of put them together, and I would make working ones. Then I would sell those on Craigslist as well. So I would basically get 2 broken PSPs for $20 each, put them together, make a working one, and sell it for like $100 something.
That is so smart. Good for you, man. That's amazing. That's such a smart idea.
I did this for a long time during high school. It was like, it's just like, I always got these random ideas when I was younger.
Nice.
Just like acted on it. What else did I do? That was I think that was it was pretty lucrative because, you know, nobody wanted their broken PSPs. They just put it in their drawer. So when I put a Craigslist ad up, it was like people were messaging me left and right. And since I'm from New York City, you know, it's so dense here. I got a lot of people buying and selling. And then when I took out, I also found that there was a market on eBay for broken PSPs. Like people would be doing the same thing as me, and they would be selling broken PSPs listed as 4 parts only. So I would buy them for $20. Then I would take some of the parts that I need out, and then I would list it on eBay, and then somebody else would buy the broken one from me that I already took like some of the parts out. I mean, it still had some working parts, but like I was able to get like $50-$60 for them. Like it's pretty much like it was like at that point I was getting like 10 times returns for something like that.
You can't argue on that. That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's pretty cool. That's really, really cool. So hang on.
Yeah,
it says that, yeah, Craigslist was the first Amazon. No kidding. So true.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be, but it was a very, it was really good. And then after that, I started, I was also flipping items on Craigslist as well. Like, I wasn't limited to only PSPs. I would buy like Nintendo and stuff. Like the DS, that was a big thing for me too, because people sell things and for really cheap sometimes. I have no idea why. And then like you just buy it from Craigslist, and then I would sell it on eBay and make the difference from that. It was I don't know how
lucrative for you.
I noticed it and took advantage of it. And actually that's I actually did a lot of I really like eBay. Like I actually made a lot of money from eBay, not just with the PSPs. I don't know if you guys remember. Let me see if I have. I had it in my do you remember when fidget spinners were like a massive thing a couple of years ago?
Yeah, of course.
I actually made a ton of money selling fidget spinners on eBay.
Are you serious?
I went.
Good for you, man.
Like I noticed the fad really early.
Yeah.
I went on Alibaba, and I actually was buying from the factories in Alibaba, and then sold it on eBay. And it's just like if you're thinking about ways to make money, there's always things that like anybody can do. You just have to come up with the idea and then execute on it. I remember like I was buying fidget spinners for like $3 from China, from Alibaba, and then I would sell them on eBay for like $15. I mean, it was
nice margins.
It was a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work because, I mean, I was shipping out hundreds of packages every single day, and like I was doing it myself. So I was like packing them, bringing them to the post office. I mean, I felt like the ladies at the post office just like didn't want to see me anymore. Look at this guy coming in again with like boxes. It got to the point where, you know, I had to make multiple trips to the post office because like my car couldn't fit enough.
Nice. Boxes. Good for you, man. That's cool. That's great. Yeah, so great story.
It was, you know, I think I started really young with entrepreneurship, and it's you know, just one idea comes after the next.
Absolutely. And the key is, like you said earlier, is to execute on them too, right? Mm-hmm. Ideas are like, there's tens of thousands of ideas. Whether or not you're going to execute, that's the real challenge, right?
Yeah, it's a lot about mindset too, and like how you view things. Because a lot of people they have great ideas, and then they're just like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And then they just get overwhelmed. And it's more about, you know, just my wife was actually saying this about me. Like, that's one thing that she told me, like, she really likes about me, because I always, when I have an idea, like I get like the basic game plan down, and then I just do it. I don't worry about, you know, like, oh, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen after that? Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I just start, and then you just learn as you go, basically. You know, like, who would have thought, like, who would have known how to fix PSPs? You know, like, you just go on Google and type how to fix PSPs, watch a video about it, and then you basically, that's how I learned it. And then same thing with, you know, how to sell on eBay. You know, you just learn all these little things that make you successful. Like everybody can sell on eBay, but I think there was one strategy that I did that really helped, I think. So to get on eBay, there's something called sales velocity. So if you start selling really fast right out of the gate, your item gets pushed to the first page. I learned that from YouTube. Like, it's just, what I was doing was when I would list a new item, like a new fidget spinner, I would have like 2,000-3,000 of that kind. My first couple, I would sell them for $1. Just like shipping is like $2 and something, and packaging, like it costs $3 to sell, but I would sell it for $1.
Yeah.
Just so that I could sell like 20, 30 of them in the first like hour that I put it up. And once that happens, I'm on the front page. Like I'm at the very top. After that, I start raising the price. And then as I got to the price that I wanted, you know, that's it. I just stop. And by that point, I'm already on the first or second page, and I'm getting a lot of sales, even at the higher price. So that's like some like little details that nobody even think about. But you know, all it takes is a quick. You go on Chrome, Google.com. I mean, go on Chrome, open up YouTube, how to sell on eBay, and then you just watch a bunch of videos about it, and you learn all these crazy tricks, and it really helps. You know, like that's why, you know,
these are great tips. Great job.
I really love YouTube for that, because you can literally learn how to do anything. Like anything you want to know, just YouTube it, and there will be a tutorial about it. And you know, just have an idea, go on YouTube, learn how to do it, and do it. That's pretty much
so
the
it's just the execution of getting it done. That's it, right? It's so true.
Yeah.
So good for you. Good for you. All right. So everybody watching, we're going to do things a little differently tonight. Next, we're going to talk to Ben about his real estate investing. Okay. But I'm going to post up, if anybody wants to join in, you can ask a question for Ben here on the side if you wish, or you can actually come on in and join the conversation and ask Ben any question you want. I'm going to post the link at the side here, backstage. I'll bring you in, ask Ben your questions, done. Okay. So Ben, you okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
Sure, man. Buddy. I'm putting you on the spot. All right, there I posted. If anybody's got the, I don't know what I want to say in regards to that. Wants to take on the challenge of the day, or coming on, asking you the questions, joining us right here. There's the stream right there. There's the link for the stream right there, guys. So hey, come and join us if you wish. All right, real estate. You said you started that about 10 years ago, correct?
Yeah.
Excellent. How'd you get into that? How'd you learn to do that?
You know, actually, learning to do that was at the start. It was you know, my parents knew. Like, my dad was he was a builder in China. Like, he was in the army when he was in China. And when you're in the army in China, they literally like have you learn how to do everything yourself. So he pretty much like built his own house from scratch in China. So he was already like keen on the idea. So after coming here, he brought a property for himself in Queens. And then, you know, growing up, you know, seeing my dad, you know, he had a property, he was renting it out, and he was collecting rent checks every single month. I was like, oh my God, you don't even need to work. This is like, you know, mind blown. Like, you just have a property and take care of it, and then you just make money. It's like that's pretty much like that's how I got into it. Just like, it was just like, to me, it was like this is a retirement plan. Like,
absolutely.
You know, like, just grow your portfolio and then just live off of the rent, basically. So when I first started, I actually used you know, I made a decent amount of money doing the PSP stuff. Also, as a kid, I started working really early. So my parents had a restaurant as well. So when I was 14, I pretty much started working for them. I was after school, I would go there. Like other kids would be playing sports or whatever. I was in the restaurant. Weekends, kids are playing football in the park, watching cartoons. I was in the restaurant. Basically, like
you're learning a ton, I bet.
it was, so because I was helping them so much with their business, they really had a lot of like faith in me. I don't live with my I don't want to say it, but I'm obviously the favorite son, so
because you're always in the restaurant.
So my with my the money that I made from the PSP eBay business, and then my parents also helped me out a lot on my first property. So that's how I started, because they knew that I wouldn't waste the opportunity. Like if they helped me invest, I can make it something bigger, basically. Just because I was showing them, my work ethic, as well as my basically, like, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but being smart, basically. So they had faith in me, and they helped me out with it as well. So that's basically how I got my first property. After that, it was like after that, it was leverage. Like
absolutely.
After that, my second property. No, so basically in real estate, the first property is the hardest property to get, because at that point, if you're not like, if you don't have money, it's kind of hard to get in. I mean, there are like, if you're a veteran, you can do like 0% down, and there's like a government assisted loans called a VA loan. But oh, also there's a FHA, like a 3.5% loan that the government does as well.
Right.
But I'm in New York, so in most areas in New York, the competition is so high that most people don't accept those type of loans, because they want someone to have like 20%, or it's not as secure, basically, because it's harder to secure those loans than just a regular conventional 20% loan. So in New York, it's really hard to start real estate, just because the barrier of entry is really high. You just, the only way you can do it is just work hard and save. Basically, work hard, don't spend a lot of money, and save. It's basically working for your future. Because at this point, I can retire and live off of my cash flow right now. But it's just like, in the beginning, it's really hard. And I'm lucky to have supportive parents, so I know it's like pretty hard for like it's a lot harder for other people who are just doing it completely by themselves. Right. But if you're in like a less competitive area, let's say you're in like Indiana or something, where it's less competition, you can definitely get something with a FHA 3.5% loan. And since the price points over there are like lower, 3.5%, you can start getting into something with like maybe $10,000-$15,000. But still, I don't want to downplay how hard it is to get that 10,000-15,000, because you just need to save, basically. Once you get your first property, that's when things pretty much explode. Like it gets pretty exponential. I was actually going to make a video about this, which using leverage, or using like basically refinancing to get leverage to buy more properties. So when you buy your first property, every single month you have to pay a mortgage. So when you pay a mortgage, part of that goes towards paying your interest, but the other part goes towards paying your principal. So as the years go by, your loan amount goes down. And then with appreciation, the value of your property goes up. So I was actually going to actually I made a kind of like a script about it for my next video. I think I can give you guys like a sneak peek just because I wanna give out some numbers to exactly the Burr method. I want to give out some numbers just to basically like help you guys understand it, because just me talking about it won't make as much sense, right? So let's say you have one person. Let's say I bought a property somewhere for $300,000, right? Let's say in 2015. I put 20% down, so that means like I have $60,000, and I take a loan for $240,000. Right now, at like 2015, interest rates were higher. So let's say I got that loan at a 5% interest rate. If I am making my monthly payments on time, after 5 years in 2020 today, I would have paid off like $20,000 of that loan. So I've built up $20,000 worth of equity. Now, real estate on average appreciates, like experts say, 3 to 5%. It really like varies drastically based off of where you are. But let's like use like a 4% conservative number, like between the 3 and the 5. That property that you bought in 2015 for $300,000 is worth somewhere around, let's see, $365,000. So after 5 years, you own a property worth $365,000 and you owe $220,000 on it still, right? So what you can do after that is you can refinance. Refinance just basically means you can get a new loan from the bank for 80% at like they usually offer 80% on residential properties. So 80% of the new value, which is $365,000, is $292,000. So with $292,000, if you pay back the $220 that you owe to the bank, you still come out with $72,000, right? So that $72,000 is, guess what? Another 20% for a new property.
Yep.
If you buy a new property for $365,000 at the market rate right now, you know, that's 20%. You can buy that property. Like you basically held on to a property for 5 years, built up the equity, refinanced, took out the money, and then you can use that to buy a second property. And that's not even counting, you know, the cash flow that you're getting for renting that property for those 5 years. That's now you have 2 properties, right? After that, just wait another 5 years, do the same thing again. Now your 2 properties becomes 4 properties.
Yep.
And then you just wait 5 more years, do the same thing again, and now you have 8 properties. It's basically like the growth is exponential, but the hardest part is to start.
Absolutely. It really is. The power of leverage is amazing. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. It really is. So good for you for doing it, you know, good for you for figuring it out, and also great for you for like, you know, doing it as well.
But you know, the good thing is, like, you know, I don't know everything, you know. It's impossible to know everything, but you can
have to get it working for you, obviously.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I went on a forum called Bigger Pockets. If you guys are into real estate, you know, Bigger Pockets is a great resource. They have like their forum is packed full of other investors. And if you need any help with anything, you just post a question about it and somebody will give you like a great answer. Like right now, I'm into buy and hold real estate, which is basically like I just buy it. I plan to hold it for long term, and I just rent it out and, like, you know, build up equity and get cash flow every single month. But there are so many other strategies. I was actually at one point looking at buying a piece of land to build on top of it. And, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, what do I need to do to build on that piece of land? Like, you have to get certain permits, you have to hire certain contractors, you have to do like a lot of groundwork, all of this stuff at that time I didn't know. So YouTube, how to build, how to develop a piece of land. I went on Bigger Pockets on the forums, post, I'm new to development. They have like a development section. So I made a post, I'm new to development. I'm trying to learn as much, exactly, yes, like Ryan said, you need to rough in utilities. So you need to put in all the plumbing work, you need to put like the sewer lines, the water main lines, the electric lines. At that point, you might know that you need to do those things, but like how exactly do you do those things? That's when like a lot of videos are handy. You go on the forums, like, I don't directly ask them exactly how to do it. It's more like nobody really has the time to answer every single little question. So, I just made a post like, hi, my name is Ben. I'm looking to get into development, but at this point, I'm kind of like a fresh book. I want to learn more about it. Can you guys please point me to a direction, like what type of resources I should look at? And people will just basically give you, like, link you posts of like, things that they think you should read. And it's so helpful to go through something like that. You also have to have like a mentality of like, you don't know everything and you have a lot to learn, basically. Like you need to be open about seeking help from other people. And when they give you advice, just like you have to work at it and just learn as much as you can, because investment is also about education. You need to know what you're doing, and in order to learn, you have to hang out with basically people who have done it already, and they learn from them.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly.
A lot of questions.
No matter how small, no matter how insignificant you think it is, just like do as before. Actually, don't ask every single question without first trying to do your own research. So if you ask like a very like simple, specific question, but like it's everywhere on the internet, some people might not take it very kindly. Like they're like, oh, you're not even trying.
Crazy.
That's why I post like, can you point me to the right direction? And then when I like read more about it, you kind of, one of my favorite like terms is like, you don't really know what you don't know. Like you don't even know what you don't know. So, once you start looking into something, you answer one question, but then you come out with like 5 other questions. And then you start, like, you just start jumping in and start answering every single question. And that's how you really like learn how to do something. So, don't like just straight up ask like a very obvious question. Just like keep in mind the questions that you have, and then you can like search up specifically what you want to know. And then if it's like you can't find it, then you ask it, basically. So people don't get annoyed that you didn't put any effort into looking for it for yourself. Just because like information is out there, information is everywhere, and in the day of the internet, it's free too.
Yeah, it really is. Absolutely. So how many properties do you own right now then?
So right now I have 10 units, and
that's amazing. Good for you, man. That's so cool. That is so
I'm trying to get some more. But I was actually working on a deal before this whole coronavirus. I was actually working on a deal. I actually like kind of I hinted at it in some of my previous videos that I was gonna make a specific video about it, just because like this deal was huge. It was I'll talk about it on stream here now. So basically, I was looking into buying like a small apartment building. So this building has 10 units in it, as well as like a community space that right now it's zoned to be a daycare. So right now that one deal would have basically doubled what I have, but it's just like
are you still pursuing it?
Yeah. No, not right now. Not right now. Definitely not right now.
Okay.
Just because of what happened, basically, like right now, like in New York City, real estate has like completely stopped. Yeah, it's hard to let me finish this and then I'll address that comment.
Yeah. We'll bring it back up in a minute.
In New York City, real estate has just like stopped. It's been in like a complete lockdown, and nobody wants to show their properties. Nobody wants to go to look at properties. It's actually it's been going on for like a couple weeks now. So basically, like I was negotiating the price on this deal. I got it to like we were like right about to agree. Like we were just a little bit off. I think I got him to a price that was acceptable to me, but I wanted to like push him a little more to try to get it at a slightly lower price. But it was like at a point where like I could have been like, okay, I want to get it tomorrow, like give me the contract type of thing. And then like the whole coronavirus thing blew up, and it's just very risky right now to buy something like that. Exactly. No, 10,000. I think there's much more than 10,000 cases right now.
Yeah, let's talk about the coronavirus after we finish off with your real estate, because this is a great story.
Yeah. So
elaborating on it. So
property is actually like it's been on the market for like 3 years now, and nobody's bought it. And it's like a fresh built like property. Like the developer built the property and has been trying to sell it for 3 years, but he hasn't been able to sell it because his asking price was way too high. Like the guy was asking for like $8 million right when he listed it. Yeah. So like he wanted $8 million, and nobody was in their right mind would give him anywhere close to $8 million. So I don't really want to talk about like how much like I got him to, but it's like significantly lower than 8 million. So I was ready to execute. But the problem with that is just like this entire property is vacant. So right now there's no tenants in it at all. It's completely empty. So I needed to basically put it on hold just because, I don't want to buy a property and then like, who knows if we're still dealing with the coronavirus in like 3-4 months, like I can't hold on to the property vacant for like an indefinite amount of time.
Purchase, don't do it.
Pay like tens of thousands of dollars in mortgage every single month. At this point, it's not a good. I can't get it right now. So I mean, I'm putting it on hold. I'm still thinking, it could be a good deal in the future. I'm waiting for like 4 or 5 months down the line to see, what the market does at that time. And I'm not really like at this point in my life, it's like I've gotten enough where I can live off of what I have right now. So I don't want to like have too much risk, basically. Like, if I was a risky player right now, I would definitely buy it because I think it's a good deal. But, right now it's like, I don't want to lose like a ton of money if this thing goes south, basically.
Yeah. Smart move, really smart move.
Yeah, especially with what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So let me address Wyatt's comment, because he says it's hard to get financing after 10 properties, and that's regular Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans, which are basically the loans that you can get from like your local Chase or Wells Fargo or TD Bank or something. They usually offer just like the conventional loans. But then after 10 properties, you can go to mortgage brokers, and mortgage brokers, they have other type of loans, because there are some banks that do like what is it? It's slipping my mind. They do portfolio loans, which is okay. So let me get into this. So so a Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac loan is basically when a bank gives you a loan, and then it has to fit that the guidelines set by the government, so they can sell that loan in a secondary market. So a secondary mortgage market. So at that point, you're only allowed to have 10 of these loans. So that's why it's really hard to get a loan after 10 properties, like Wyatt said. But there are banks that do portfolio loans, which is basically the bank won't sell your loan. They just hold the loan internally. So you just have to look for a bank that does something like that. And usually like the small credit unions and like smaller name banks, they do this sort of stuff. So again, it's more like taking your first step, because I would have never known this if I didn't go to the bank to ask about it. Like you literally just
there you go.
make an appointment with the mortgage banker. At first, I didn't even know mortgage banker and mortgage brokers were two different things. So I went to a mortgage banker and they gave me information. You just have a conversation with them. It's completely free. You learn about it. Then I found out what a mortgage broker was. Then I just Googled mortgage broker and then had a conversation with a mortgage broker. And like, you just learn so much. Like you learn what you don't know. And then like, it's like a process. You just take it step by step. Like once you start, you pretty much, that's like the best approach to learn how to do things. Like even when I started dealing with contractors, like what I learned is that I had to renovate a property, right? But I had no idea about construction. Like I had no idea about residential construction. So I called the contractor, had the contractor come in and gave me a quote on what needs to be done. So he walks through the property with me, again, completely free. He points out, oh, you should do this here, you should do this there, like, and then gives me a list of work that he thinks I should do. Then I just call a second contractor, have them come too, and then see what they think needs to be done. And then they give me another list of what needs to be done. And then you call a third one, and you learn so much just by talking to them. And then you have like a list of like, everyone thinks you should do this. And then like one person thinks you should do that. So basically the ones that everyone thinks you should do are like the key things that you should do. You learn so much just by talking to people. And again, this is all completely free because contractors always give free estimates for everything. And it's just like you just ask a bunch of questions. Everyone has no idea what they're doing when they start. That's basically what it is. Like
so
you just
that's the fun part though, Ben. It's the fun part as well, right? But we all have to admit we don't know what we're doing, so you got to ask the questions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't figure out.
Yeah, exactly. You just start, ask, and then like you just figure it out as you go. Like a lot of us are YouTubers here too, right? Like you had no idea what you were doing when you started a channel. It's like, you learn little by little, how to do SEO, how to like talk to a camera, how to set up your background, your lights, and all of this stuff. You just basically you have to Google everything and YouTube everything, actually. So,
yeah, no kidding. so true.
Yeah, like I probably sound like a broken record right now, and like talking about you don't know, and then you just gotta start. But that's really like the main thing. Like I just want to like hammer that point in. You just gotta start, and you'll figure it out as you go. basically.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Good for you being at the point that you're at right now, Ben. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's exciting, eh?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like, I think at this point I'm like addicted, you know?
It's so true. And how about the feeling when you do a close, when you finalize it?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have any tattoos, but it's like I've heard like people get a tattoo and they want another one, you know, right after you get that one. And then second and third, it's the same thing with like properties. It's just like you want to keep going and going and going. Right.
Yeah. At this point, it's like, you know, I don't have any kids yet, but, you know, going through like what I went through in my childhood where like my parents like absolutely had no time for me. Like the only time that I saw them was when I was working with them at the restaurant.
At the restaurant.
Like I don't want like that sort of life for my kids when I have kids. So, you know, that's something that like I want to build up. You know, I want to have time. Like I want to work on my own schedule. Like
do it.
Like basically like right now I do still have like a 9-to-5 job, but I feel at some point, like when my kids are like 2 or 3 years old, maybe like 5 years down the line, I want to be at a point where I own enough properties where I don't have to work and I can still live very comfortably. Like I like the whole like what is it, the FIRE movement that's going on right now, and it's like raising awareness to like financial education, and like I think that's something that's really great. So that's basically like what my drive is right now, like to set up my future as well as like the future of my future family.
That's a great goal to have. Good for you.
Yeah.
Great to start working on for you, Ben. That's fantastic. So now let's talk about, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you're an investor in real estate, but now let's talk about the goods. And right now is the stock market and everything else going on right there. So you were saying earlier that you've been a veteran of this for quite some time in the markets. How long have you been in the markets for?
Well, actually, no, I haven't been in the market for very long. I dabbled. You know, I tried day trading a bit for a couple years ago, and that didn't really go so well. I mean, I didn't lose I lost like $1,000. It wasn't like crazy money. I was like, you know, dabbling with it. I just put a couple of thousand in and just tried it out because, you know, that's my thing, trying new things. So after that, I took a break from stocks for a couple of years, but like seeing what's happening right now has gotten me like very, very worried about like holding on to money, because I think inflation is coming. So we gotta prepare for that. And that's why I've recently just started getting into stocks again.
Okay, so this is perfect right now. Again, I'm going to post, if you want to jump on board and talk about this, we're going to talk about the markets for a while. Ben has just been in it, like he said, just in the last little while. So if anybody wants to ask him any questions or jump in on the conversation and whatnot, and that would be really helpful. I mean, if you have a question for Ben or something helpful for Ben, or even myself as well, by all means, jump on board. Just click on the link backstage. I'll bring you in if you want to join the discussion. That'd be great. So what types of stocks are you looking at right now? And what's your goal? What's your plan with all this?
My goal right now is stability, because I think that like this coronavirus is basically like flipping our economy like upside down, and there are going to be a lot of companies that are going to go bankrupt in the next couple months, just because like right now I think America isn't taking the actions that they need to really get through this like fast. So I think this is like, people say, you know, oh, quarantine for 2 weeks and everything's going to be back to normal. That's not happening. Like, I think it's going to be like a couple months. So if people can't work for a couple months, like a lot of companies are not going to be able to survive past that. Like basically we need to like model ourselves based off, like no one has gone through something like this, something as like widespread as this before, right? So we don't really know what's going to happen. What I'm thinking is I'm looking at what happened in China and basically like doing my predictions based off of that, because like their economy basically shut down for like 3 months prior to us getting hit. So what's happening over there, I think, is likely going to happen here as well. Like if we have to shut down for 3 months, a lot of people are not going to be doing well. Like they like, I think like even like a big store like Neiman Marcus, they filed for bankruptcy yesterday. Like it's just like, yeah, it's like it's getting it's gonna be really bad. So right now my plan is oh, also like I just like to mention that, you know, after everyone recovers, there's still going to be that stigma of going outside and continuing on with regular life. Like once we see cases start declining, we're still going to be afraid to go outside in case of getting it. That's exactly what's happening in China. Like first, it started spreading. The government locked everyone down. And right now they've gotten it to the point where they're only getting single-digit infections, but people are still afraid to go outside. Like they've opened up cities and they're allowing people to basically go back to normal life. But people are still not eating at restaurants because there's still that fear there. And I feel there's going to be like something similar to that's going to happen here. So we're going to be in for a pretty long ride, I think. So at this point, I don't think we're at the bottom anymore. But because, I mean, I don't think we're at the bottom yet. But because we haven't actually like seen the backlash of this. Like people haven't started losing their jobs yet. Well, they have, like they just started losing their jobs, but I feel like it's going to be worse in the coming like month or two. And then when that happens, when more companies start filing for bankruptcy, that's when we're going to see the bottom. Like I think it still has some time to go. The other thing is, you know, the government is trying to stimulate the economy. So I think they're proposing like a $2 trillion stimulus plan, and like where are they getting that money from? They're basically, from what I've read, they are basically going to print money, and they said something about like unlimited money at this point right now. So if that's the case, like we're gonna get inflation. So
is a fiat currency going to create inflation? Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we're getting inflation, then the worst thing to do right now is to keep cash. Like I had some cash set aside because I was looking to buy another property. So at this point, I'm going to be putting like most of that into the market. So I've been doing a lot of research right now into stocks. So, but my plan is basically go for stability. Like I don't really want to like do a risky play to make some money in this market. I just want like big name companies where I'm not going to lose money, and like if it can keep up with the inflations that we're going to see, like, you know, that's good enough for me.
Yep. So Dave mentions he wants to get out the silver. Dave, are you doing a lot of silver?
Gold and silver has like gone up a lot in the past few days since everyone is predicting that the dollar is going to get weaker. The gold and like precious metals have been going up, right? That's
usually what happens, right?
Yeah. So this is scary times that we're living in.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I think it's exciting at times, and I think it's really, really interesting. I think it's going to go on a lot longer than we expect it to.
Yeah. So the thing about it is like this is pretty much the time where a lot of people are going to become rich. Like this is like when something like this happens and there's such a drastic shift, that this is where a lot of people make their money.
Yeah.
Even right now, like it's scary, but I also think it's not bad because, well, I mean, like on a financial standpoint, it's really bad. Don't get me wrong, it's really bad. But on a financial standpoint, like I'm okay with inflation because you know I owe like over $1 million to the bank. So, you know, like, give me some of that inflation. If I can pay the bank back with less valuable dollars, you know, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. But it's just like, you know, it's a scary thing to think about, like actually getting infected. Because right now I'm still working a 9-to-5 job and I'm not able to work from home. So I do civil engineering as like my regular job, like my day job.
Right.
So what I do is I do construction management for infrastructure projects in New York City. So I'm still out there like doing because even though New York City is shut down for most jobs, construction, like infrastructure construction, is still considered essential. So I still have to go to work.
As well for tonight. Actually, tonight at midnight in Canada, all non-essentials. That's it.
Yeah.
So construction is essential.
Yeah. So they labeled infrastructure like construction as essential. So right now, like my wife has been working from home for like 2.5, like 3 weeks now. She's freaking out because she's like, oh man, what if you get infected? You're gonna get me infected. So it's kind of it's kind of a rough time, you know. It's
yeah, it's definitely interesting and definitely rough times or whatnot. So what do you think about the markets? What does everybody here think about the markets? Is this like, you know, are we just starting to see the drop? Dave, Ryan, Rodas, everybody, all you guys, what do you guys think? You know, is this like just like the start of it all right now? Or is this like, you know, is it bottom right now? Or what do you guys think? You know, it's just you hear any channel you turn to, it's just like you hear such different, you know, ideas of what's happening currently right now and what the future is holding. What do you think, Ben?
Me, I think I'm slowly I'm slowly easing in. Like I'm not dumping like everything into the market at the same time because, you know, like people say, it's impossible to time the market. I think it still can go down. Yeah, like I think it just started too. Yeah, we just announced the lockdown last week. So,
and you're right in New York, right?
Yes. So I'm like in the center of it all in America. You know, New York has half of the entire country's cases. You know, I actually have a lot of cousins in healthcare. So I have a lot of I have cousins who are doctors and nurses who are currently like in the front lines battling this right now.
Good for them.
Like what they're telling me is like scaring me even more. Like because they're telling me like, you know, they're running out of masks. Like they don't have enough protection against this. So like, and there's nothing that they can do because they just don't have access to it. They're telling like, I think they have like several days more of supplies. I think it's like 8 days or like 7 days left of supplies before like they completely run out. And right now there isn't a concrete plan to put in to like, how do you get this supply? So I think like if they don't do something soon, like the healthcare professionals are really gonna get like, they're gonna get hammered. Like how can they treat patients if they can't protect themselves? And then if you start seeing like doctors just call in sick because they don't want to expose themselves, it just makes the issue like worse. So I think like the coronavirus issue isn't, we're still in the beginning. But for the market, I think once we get a concrete plan in place, that's when things start to like go back to normal, or like become less like 15% up today, 20% down tomorrow, 10% up the next day, and like 25% down. You know, I think once we get like a concrete plan of what we're going to do as a country, that's when like it's going to stabilize a little bit.
Yeah, but was that concrete plan going to come down the chute though, down the pipeline?
I don't know, because you know, for me, I think like people talk about like China when they talked about the headlines when this started coming out in China were like, oh, you know, this draconic shutdown, like they are taking like such extreme measures. This is against human rights and this and that. But to me, I think like China responded like really well. They were, for such a large population to have it only get to like 80 something thousand, that's, and the amount of deaths that they have compared to the rest of the world, it's, I think they did a great job.
An amazing job.
Yeah, and that's how they
yeah.
That's because the government just like went in and tackled it like right away. They were like, we got to shut down cities. All right, let's shut down cities. Not like
overnight.
Yeah, overnight, exactly. Not like, you know, oh, should we shut down? What should we do? Like New York City shut down after there's already like 20,000 cases. So, you know, like,
yeah,
and it's up to like 50. What is it up to now? I don't even.
I haven't checked it recently.
Yeah, I haven't checked it recently, but let me.
Anybody know how many cases do we have in New York right now?
Let me take a look. But it's like they acted way too slowly. Like this could have been we should have shut down like 2 weeks ago. If we shut down 2 weeks ago, we would have limited our cases by so much. And it's like they're telling people like, oh, you know, don't wear masks, and like, while other countries are like, yeah, definitely wear a mask. I mean, like at this point, like Trump is trying to save the economy, but he's not doing enough for the people, in my opinion. And it's just like people are fighting. They're saying they're releasing like a package to help people who are out of work, but they're just fighting over what to do. Like everyone agrees there should be a package, but if you're fighting back and forth about what to do about this package, people need the help now. They don't need the help like, well, I mean, they'll still need the help a month from now, but like the people like really need it like right now.
Yeah.
So the government is just like not acting fast enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah, it is always easy to look back after the fact and say we should have did, like Hidden Freedom Investing said. I just think that because it didn't hit us until like, basically it hit us way later than it hit the rest of the world. So I think it's like you're basically getting news about how this is impacting the rest of the world, and to pretend that it's not going to hit us a similar way was a very like that was not a good idea. Like
yeah.
If you saw how, like, you already saw how it impacted China, like at that point it's like you have to do something, and quickly too. That's yeah.
Yeah, we had the experience years ago with the SARS. We had it here in Toronto, right? So we kind of, and we're following this pretty much the same game plan, except on a larger scale for across the country for us.
Yeah.
right? So yeah, we've been locked down now for what, the last week. I mean, every day something else happens. I mean, it's more and more. And like I said, non-essentials tonight at midnight get locked down. So yeah, we're on it. And there's a whole bunch of people that got caught.
You guys only have 8,000 cases, you said, right?
Yeah, it's still relatively small, but I mean, multiply that by 10, and that'll be, you know, in relation to the US, because we're only 1/3 your size, right? We're the same population as California, so much smaller country. But still, I mean, there's still a lot of cases. There's enough for us to like go into like full lockdown right away. You know, anything that we can do is just like, you know, that's it. But there was a whole bunch of people in Nova Scotia last weekend, and this is where the government has got it turned into becoming the parent. And on Sunday, it was a warm day, so everybody's on the beach. You couldn't even get a parking spot, and this is all caught on the media. And you know, obviously the you know, the province of Nova Scotia said, okay, that's it. We're on immediate lockdown with everything. So yeah, interesting times right now. Crazy. So what's everybody saying here? Why I've been looking for more ways to make money to accumulate as many shares as I can. Good companies looking at things long term. Exactly. There's so many deals out there in the market right now. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So right now, I think you know, it's gonna be like really sad to say, but like I don't want to sound like super heartless, but the truth is that like
say what you gotta say.
People are gonna die, and I think in the next couple months for the real estate market, when people start passing away, that's when homes get sold. So I think like in the next couple months, prices might like take a little dip because you know, there's gonna be more houses on the market, and when supply goes up and people are afraid to go out, that's when shopping season begins. Like so right now is like, just go. For me, I'm going for stability, and then when the time is right, I'm going to liquidate and then go into more real estate.
Yep, absolutely. So how many body parts have you sold so far in order to you know, gain some capital?
How many body parts? You know, I'm missing like half my liver and a kidney.
You too. I laugh though, so I think I should be okay for my life. But as long as I don't laugh too hard. Yeah, this is gonna be great over the next little while, and it really does stink because a lot of people are gonna be losing their jobs. I mean, we already had, I think it was on Monday. No, not yesterday. It must have been on Friday. So we have unemployment insurance here in Canada, and we had 27,000 the same day last year. But on Friday, I think it was, we had 500,000 apply for it.
Oh man,
it just goes to show, like, wow, the amount of people. The airline industry is taking a huge hit right now, right? Same thing. Boom, knock off a bunch of people. WestJet today laid off, I think it was like a few thousand people as well. It's just like boom, blah, 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 domino effect is happening now.
Overnight too. It's
crazy.
Like, so many people don't have a job anymore. Like, it basically any a lot of like restaurants, even though restaurants are still running, they're running on like a takeout only type of, like they're takeout only right now.
Yeah, we got the same thing happening here in Canada right now too.
Basically, all the waiters gone, all the busboys gone, dishwashers gone. Like, all you have is basically the chef and maybe like a person or two taking orders.
Yeah, like
it. Just think about, like, it's like half of the population doesn't have a job right now. So of course, unemployment is going to be a huge thing, and if this takes like 2 or 3 months, the economy is kind of screwed.
Yeah, hopefully not. And that's why I guess Trump said last night, you know, he wants to have everything up and moving again, force businesses back into operation by Easter, I think, for you guys.
But again, like, if we don't take proper precaution and it starts spreading again once Trump opens up the economy again, it's gonna be this whole mess all over again. Like, there was no point of quarantining for 2 months. I mean, for 2 weeks, and then like people start getting infected again. So it's hard to say. Like, I'm saying like they have their hands full. It's not like an easy decision to make on like what.
It's extremely difficult and complex and complicated. Okay.
But what I'm saying is like my point is like, you know, something needs to be done. Like it's just the like and fast, like fighting back and forth between how much to give to who is really I think like they I think the Republicans wanted to propose like $1,200 to everyone making under $100,000 or something. And then like and then the Democrats are proposing like, what is it, 1,500 now, plus like $500 per kid if you're making less than 75,000. I mean, yes, like that helps. Like they both plans help. Just like pick one and like put it through. Like that's basically like people right now are like they can't live, they can't work. Like how are you going to tell people they can't work? How are they going to?
They're just sitting at home right now, right? It's like, when's it going to really hit home?
Yeah. So I mean, like right now, some people, you know, they're living on the emergency fund, but a lot of like, sadly, a lot of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So this is going to hit people really hard. Yes, it does screw people in expensive areas because, you know, $1,500 a month is not even is going to cover like half of rent. So like for those people, it's kind of it's going to be rough. Even if they do come out, but you know, something is better than nothing, basically.
So why it's going to share? Considering selling his 14-year-old Cocker Spaniel for a share of Misfit. Microsoft. That's good. That's a good one as well. Next to like,
I was thinking about like what stocks should I get into, and it seems like a lot of people in the chat are like into stocks. What do you guys think about fast food stocks right now, like McDonald's, Wendy's, like those type of companies? Because even if the entire like economy shuts down, people still need to eat, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's such interesting times. So, guys, what do you guys think about Ben's question there? What do you guys think about, like, say, the fast foods and whatnot? The McDonald's, the Wendy's. McDonald's is always solid. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I think like when people are afraid to like eat at restaurants, they can still go to the drive-through, right?
Yeah. And it's funny, like, there's a Wendy's not far from here, and you just drive up to it, and obviously you can still go through drive-through like you just said, but all the chairs are up, and it's just like it's a weird feeling, you know. It's just it's really weird. So walking around New York, what's it like for you, Ben? Is it kind of like
around New York? You mean more like driving around New York because I don't want to be outside.
Sorry, you're the one that everything else going
right now. I mean, the only good thing is like my commute is cut in half. You know, there's no cars on the road. But people are actually like taking it really seriously now. Like a couple of weeks ago, people were not taking it that seriously. Everyone was still like walking around, living life like normal. But now you can see like a drastic shift. Like sometimes, like when I go outside, you see like one or two people, and that's crazy for New York. Like,
yeah, it's the same way here in Toronto, Oakville, where I'm at. It's just like the weirdest thing. You drive around anytime, and there's hardly any cars on the road. Yeah.
I mean, like my normal commute to work is maybe like a 50-minute drive. Now it's like 20 something.
It's crazy. But sign of the times, you know, and everybody's inside. I mean, even this afternoon, like nobody was out on the streets, nothing. We're walking the dog, and it's just like, where is everybody?
Yeah, today it was a nice day outside too.
Yeah, it's like The Walking Dead.
Oh, about walking your dog. You know, my wife told me about like this funny story about Italy where they're shutting down like all non-essential like travel. So you can't go outside unless you're doing something essential. But walking your dog is considered essential. So people are renting dogs to walk. So,
No way.
people can go
Are
outside.
you kidding? That
That's
is
crazy.
classic. Oh man, that's pure entrepreneurship. All right, we got Dave here who knows a lot. Let's hear his viewpoints. Hey Dave, how's it going, buddy?
You want me to join? I had to get up and out of bed.
I want you to join. You guys are great. Anybody else? Wyatt, Ryan, everybody else, all good. Come on, guys, join us. It'd be fun to hear your points of view of what's going on right now. This is really unique, interesting time. So let's talk about it. Let's discuss it, right? It's really good to talk and whatnot. So, Dave, what do you think of what's going on? Let's hear your viewpoints. You've always got.
Well, I just got one of those little push messages to my phone right around 5 o'clock. It was like one of those emergency messages, which I usually shut off. I guess on my new phone, I'm shut off because I don't like to get that type of stuff. But I didn't know we were going on lockdown. But Denver and Boulder on lockdown. So like, it really pissed me off, infuriated me. But
wow,
I looked at what they tell you can or can't do, and it's nothing different than I've already done. So,
but still a bit of a scary feeling knowing that you are on lockdown, right?
I don't like it. To me, it's like, if the businesses are shut down, what are people doing anyway? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You can't go golf. It's closed, right? You can't go, I think almost all the restaurants are closed. Gyms closed. Like, everything's closed. What are they doing? You know what I mean?
So it's all non-essentials that are closed. So is it the same? Okay, so Ben, in New York, is it things like grocery stores and pharmacies are still open?
Yes, of course. Grocery stores, pharmacies are open. Post office is open. Construction is still going on.
Right.
Doctors' offices are open. But other than that, I think everything else is closed. Movie theaters closed. Gyms closed.
Yeah. Bars those are the first ones for us too.
Restaurants and bars are still open, but they're on like a takeout only type of thing. Yeah, I didn't even know you could order like alcohol takeout. They're kind of like
okay, whoa. Time out.
like that's everything is basically shut down, and everyone is supposed to work from home, basically.
Dave, is that the same way with your setup in Denver?
What's that exactly? What's the question?
The same. Dave's
like the extent.
I got a t-shirt. I bought a t-shirt. Sorry, what was the question again? I got a t-shirt for coming in.
Yeah. All the essentials are still operational. I did, when I was going to Whole Foods on Saturday, because they closed down early on Friday, there was still a restaurant that was open, and it's in Denver, because I'm like just on the fringe of Denver. You go like a quarter of a mile that way, I'm out of Denver. But it's just, I saw a restaurant open. I saw like Micro Center open. So there is places that are open. I don't know if everything's going to close down. I don't know if that's what the stay-home order means. That are, because these are non-essential places, But they say you can go out, walk your dog. You can go out and jog. You can go out and get food. You can go out and get stuff that like computer equipment to work from home, which means that Best Buy and stuff would be open, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think Micro Center is closed in New York. That's considered.
Oh, is it? I didn't know they existed everywhere.
Oh yeah. But yeah, you can go out and jog, walk around, and walk your dog. That's fine here too. But it's just like a lot of people are kind of in panic mode, and it's like they don't really like have anywhere to go because everything is closed.
Yeah.
So,
that's kind of makes me question whether or not it's really about control, and it's really about prepping people. You know what I mean? Like conditioning them, because it's not doing anything, in my opinion. Everything's already closed anyway. You know what I mean? The gym's closed, restaurants closed, bars are closed. I mean, they're not going to, in here, they said it's going to be like a $999 fine if they catch anybody that's doing, groups of people, this, that, whatever. And it's like, oh, they'll take you to jail. I'm like, well, I'm one of those people that always likes to go against the grain. So I'll go out and test this out, It's just the way I am. But they're really not trying, at least according to what they said, they're not trying to give people tickets or whatever. They want to educate people. But to me, this is just overstepping the bounds of the government, in my opinion.
So I think the scary thing is not like walking outside, it's how it's spread. So normal people, they like touch their face or touch their mouth or their nose like several times every single hour, right? So
A couple minutes for me, but
yeah, a couple minutes. But so can you imagine, like, you're going to work and you're taking the subway. Someone with coronavirus like touched their mouth and then they touch the pole. And then now you touch your pole. You touch the same pole after that guy gets off, and now you have it on your hand. Then you put it on your face, you get infected, and then like you see your entire family, you're having dinner with them, you're talking, and like you don't, like, sometimes saliva will come out, it gets on the person that you're eating with, it gets in their food, they have it, and now they're infected too. It's more about like spreading than like controlling people. It's like if you're going to work and you have it and it's on your hand and you're not washing your hands properly, you put it on the elevator button, and the next guy who goes into the elevator touches it, gets it on their hand, and then they get infected. They're just basically trying.
There's no order saying you need to wash your hands. You know what I mean? All it's saying is stay home.
But it's
not saying, hey, you need to wash your hands. If you don't wash your hands, you know what I mean?
Because that can't be enforced.
The order, don't touch this pole.
Yeah. that can't be enforced. That's why, like, they're basically like telling everyone to stay home, because if you don't have it and you stay home, you won't get it. If you have it and you stay home, you won't give it to somebody else. That basically,
you got to go out. You got to get food.
Yeah.
If I could go to the store and buy for the month, I would, but you can't because there's no food.
So what they're doing about that is they're making everyone like use hand sanitizer when they go into the supermarket.
But they don't have any.
Well, the supermarkets that I've been going to have it at the door, and they even have an attendant like wipe down the cart for you, like anywhere you would touch on the cart. They'll have like an alcohol wipe to wipe it down before you use it, and they'll make you sanitize your hands. So I guess like the idea is to try to just limit the amount of spreading as possible. Because
I put the cart away, and I thought like, oh, let me go back in and get one of those little wipes that they usually have when you go in. Right when you go into the store, it's usually right by the carts. So I'm like, what the heck are these things, And then there's like something that said sanitizer. It was empty, I asked the lady, I'm like, where's the sanitizer wipes? She's like, oh, we're out of them. She says, we had some spray up here, and I saw a spray bottle up there, so I grabbed it, and it was surface spray, and I sprayed that on my hands.
Yeah, I mean, like the idea is supposed to work, but again, it's hard to execute. But it's still going to be much better than like a free for all, like, because can you imagine like in an area like it, because in New York City they didn't really like enforce anything for a long time, and that's why we have so many cases, because so many people take the subway every single day. You have like massive office buildings with like hundreds of floors, and like everybody in the elevator is getting infected. People taking the train are getting infected. That's why our numbers are so high. And they're trying to make everyone work from home so that you can't completely eliminate it, but at least you can like slow it down. So their point isn't to stop everyone from getting it. The point is to slow down the rate of everyone getting it, because they can treat like 1,000, like hypothetically they can treat 1,000 people right at one time. If 3,000 people get it all at the same time and they need to be hospitalized, then you got to choose which 1,000 you want to save and which people are like left on their own. And that's pretty much like the point that Italy is at right now. There were articles where they're like, they literally have to pick who gets to live at that point.
Yeah. Just basically buying time right now. And unfortunately, and sad but true, but that's just the way it is right now. Right. So buying the time. But as much as we can, remember, wash the hands, don't touch your face, and keep that social distance of 6 feet, right? I mean, it does slow things down. It does help. So, wow.
What I really don't like, though, is like Trump going after China right now. Because, like, guess who makes all the masks? guess who makes all these like medical PPE equipment? Like
I haven't heard him go after China though. Like every time he'll come on the TV every single day and do the briefing, but I haven't heard him attack China at all.
Oh yeah, he was like, China virus this. Like his tweets are like kind of crazy.
Well, that was probably like a month and a half ago before it got,
No,
came here.
a month.
I haven't heard anything negative about it.
A month and a half ago, he was saying like, oh, we're working together to resolve this. And then I think just recently he started saying like China virus this and China virus that. But, it's just like he also had tensions with China to begin with. So, I mean, that doesn't help.
It doesn't help matters.
It doesn't help. But right now, like, they have what we need. And, like, he needs to settle something so we can get this trade going again. And we can get, like, the mask that we need. Because right now, I think New York has, like, 7 days left of supplies. And they desperately need it right now.
You're kidding. 7 days of supplies, that's it?
Yeah, that's all they have left.
Holy jeez. Wow. Crazy. All right, so Ryan's stressed. We're all saying the same thing. I feel you, Ryan. Holy jeez. Hang on. What's Jose saying? Good to see you, Jose. Thanks for joining us. Sending you back in December, Dan, communicate on the pride. Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah.
It was before December. I think the city of Wuhan knew it. They're saying in November, and they kind of like tried to keep it under wraps for like a month, and then that's how it spread so much over there. So I mean, they didn't, like, in the beginning they didn't really handle it that well either. But then after it started spreading, that's when like they started taking it real seriously and locked it down real quick. And from like the amount, like, worth after that month period, after that they like went on it hard and they just got rid of it. Well, it's not completely gone yet, but like most of their people are recovering, and there's like 3,000 deaths, but compared to like Spain and like Italy right now, that's sad to say, but that's like still really good. And then also like the number of people getting it infected now are in the single digits. So like they did the whole shutdown thing too. Like they were literally like, people didn't want to go to supermarkets, so supermarkets needed to deliver, but people didn't want to meet the delivery person, so the delivery person would literally drop the items in front of their door and then like tell them their delivery is there, I'm leaving now. The delivery person would leave, and then they would come out and get the stuff. It was.
Hey, that's what's going on right now here in Canada.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Out here.
Funny that you say that, Ben, because that's exactly what's happening. People just like, they'll ring the doorbell and then they'll take off. And that's it, right? But we tried to order online groceries the other day, and on Saturday, and there was a 10-day wait in order to get your order delivered.
Yeah. I ordered garbage bags like 2 weeks ago. I still haven't gotten.
Yeah, so I put my hockey gear on, and I went over to the grocery store, and away I went, man. I was just checking people out of the way, and got all my groceries. I was out of there. Dine and dashed really fast.
Your hockey masks, N95.
Masks, they were great. Yeah, real great. But yeah, holy jeez. But you know what? It's good to hear that Italy at times now, that first person that first got it got released from the hospital yesterday as well. So that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign. Slowly the countries are getting it under control. So,
yeah, so that's good.
It's really great to hear. Really great to hear. So awesome. Ryan's making some good comments here. All good as well. Immune system, I have a great hospital for the CV. Germs, yeah, definitely. Ryan, definitely agree with you, man. Brighter days are definitely ahead.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Wyatt, thanks for joining us tonight. Glad you were able to make it. That's great. So, and Jose's back here as well. Making Brad's for the apocalypse. No kidding. So, wow. So, Dave, Denver in lockdown now. Interesting. Holy jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
saddened me?
Have to work?
I literally wanted to move that. I was ready to pack my bags.
You're ready to pack your bags?
Ready to pack my bags and move.
And go where?
Someplace that doesn't do stuff like that.
Where?
I don't know, Tennessee, Idaho, somewhere.
Yeah, Travis is still here. I don't know. Is that happening in Tennessee there?
Well, they're more conservative states. They don't do stuff like that usually, but
yeah. But who knows? We'll see. This is going to last for a long time, I think, guys. So
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the infection rate can keep going up. They'll probably last for months. Keep going, keep going, keep going. But you can't shut down the economy for a couple of months. No way.
Yeah, it's
not gonna happen.
So Mexico, no kidding, Jose. Jeez, they've only got a few cases. For the last time I saw it wasn't that much whatsoever. Right? So we have to cancel our trip. We're going to go down there for 2.5 weeks, but oh well.
I think it'll depend on like how many people just like start passing away, because like if you have like 5% of your population dying from this, it's going to be they would have to shut down. Like it's not like they want to shut down. It's just like at that point, like you just have to do something, right? Like at a certain point, human lives are more important than money, I think.
But you got to look at how many people are going to die by having the economy shut down.
Yeah.
How many people are going to die by sitting in their house?
That's,
you know what I mean? Like a ton of people are going to die just from that.
Well, they're stopping evictions as well. Like in New York,
we got that notice too. Yeah.
You can't file for an eviction. So at least they're like keeping people in their homes right now. But yeah, like I completely understand. Some people like living paycheck to paycheck, like they can't work this month. That means they can't eat. Like that's definitely a problem. That's why I think like they need to make a decision on that stimulus plan and just like roll it out so people can start like being able to afford food. Like,
I mean, that's one aspect of it, though. But what about somebody that had their net worth just go bye-bye and they want to jump out a window and kill themselves, right? There's suicides involved. There's a lot of other stuff that's involved just other than this virus by shutting the economy down for 2 months. It's not going to happen, I don't think. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's needed, though, but...
So quickly, JMac, thanks for joining us. I just dropped the link there, JMac. If you want to join the conversation, click on it. Backstage, we'll get you in. It'd be great to hear what your thoughts are on all this too. So, yeah, brighter days are going to be ahead, but how long is that going to take us, guys? Jeez. Let's see. JMac's always got some good points, man. I hope he jumps on the conversation right now. So, important this was that's what we need.
Yeah, there's no gym open, Jose or JMac. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah. For a couple of weeks. So it's just
man, it's it's tough to make the right call, basically. Like, it's either economy or like saving people, basically. But yeah, like you said, a lot of people are going to go bankrupt because small businesses are going to be hit the hardest. Like,
oh yeah,
they don't have the money to keep themselves afloat, and like you said, suicide might become a big issue. But I think at this point, like they don't know that yet, but they know that people are dying from the virus. So you can't really like you can't make a decision and then like you can't account for everything. Basically, that's what I mean. But I think they're providing like no interest loans to small businesses, I believe, right? So like they're trying to do something. I don't know. At this point, they can't really make a decision to save everybody.
And the eviction thing is like, I mean, we'll take let's take Rick here as an example, because there's a lot of people that get affected by people not paying rent, right?
Yeah.
It's not just banks. It's not just big corporations. We're talking about little guys like me. I own, a ton of loans, right? I lend out to people that buy homes. They're investors. They rent them out. So if they don't get paid, they're probably not going to end up paying me. The shit rolls downhill. You know what I mean? It's not just those people that get those checks to make payments and to protect the corporations. No, there's a ton of people that are going to miss out on money. The shit rolls downhill.
Yeah, of course. And like,
what's that?
Doesn't mean your property tax payments stop and your like utility payments stop and your insurance and your maintenance. none of that stops. But they're trying to keep people like from being homeless. I mean, I understand it. There's no like me being like I own property. Like I need to collect rent so I can pay my mortgage. Like so
the people that are gonna end up eating it are the people that can't eat it. And that kind of sucks, right? Because I make more than XYZ, or I have built up wealth because I was smart with my money. I'm going to eat it probably. You know what I mean? And that's going to happen to a lot of people.
Can I chime in? Hello, gentlemen.
Absolutely. That's why you're here. Chime in.
I like your hat.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Ben, I don't think I've ever met you or watched your content.
Oh,
How you doing?
Jason Ben. Sorry, guys.
There you go. That's cool. And I wanted to clear up some stuff. There's now this stimulus package. What is going to be? The proposed stimulus package is $6 trillion. Now we're not talking about, because this includes $4 trillion to the Fed to restock the Federal Reserve. So this is the biggest stimulus package that's ever been proposed by this country. So now, to clear up some, this is not just a stimulus for small businesses, and it's not just a loan. So these businesses, part of this package, what this package does is, if you keep your employees employed, then this becomes a grant, not a loan. So this isn't just this is to basically save the nation. So this is not just a little 350 billion of the dollars are for small businesses, 500 employees or less, and then there's another stimulus package that's loans to corporations. So, but for small businesses, if you keep your employees, then the loan will be forgiven. This is I'm telling you,
which means that the United States and the rest of the world are funding it, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I mean, money's not made out of thin air, right? I mean, it's dead, and whatever, people are own it. So, but I mean, what else are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
Well, what it does is it keeps the it keeps people from going on unemployment, and it keeps it essentially, if we can move beyond this within, say, 30 days, or or somewhere around about that 30, 45 days, then this thing doesn't become a major depression. It maybe becomes a mild recession. So,
right.
That's why it's
right.
There's so many different
everything's critical. Every little piece of the job out there is all, you know what I mean? Like just somebody serving or whatever, or hamburger or whatever, it's like, okay, it all just cascades up. You know what I mean?
Correct. A bunch of part-time jobs right now, they're gonna hit the unemployment line, and it's gonna hit the numbers, and people are gonna freak out. But a lot of it is retail, that is part-time jobs. But not all. I know a lot of a lot of companies have laid off and stuff too. So yeah.
Yeah, I think, what is it? Marriott said they laid off how many people? The CEO was on TV today talking about it. There's a lot of layoffs right now. So when this unemployment number, I don't know if it's going to hit this week, but I would definitely look for that number this week.
It's going to be the biggest. It's going to be the biggest unemployment percentage or number of unemployment people applied in 1 week ever in the history of man. Which is, I mean,
but I don't think I don't think that's a surprise, though. The market doesn't like uncertainty. It doesn't like surprises. I think a lot of it's priced in already, but I mean, depends. Is it going to be 100 million people or unemployed or what?
Well, they're thinking between 1 and 3 to start with, but if it continues, there will be more and more and more.
So, if you're a freelancer, right? Can you get unemployment? You can, right?
Is it 1099?
Yeah, like a self-employed. Like
no,
say you're a photographer or something. So those people are going to be the ones that's like hit the hardest, right? Because they basically get no support from.
And most people, the large majority of people are on a W-2, but.
No, I'm just saying that because I actually I'm supposed to have my wedding in like a month and a half, but I don't think that's happening anymore.
Do one of those window weddings. like they did on TV.
Yeah, do one of those.
It could be a really cheap
They're out
wedding.
on the street, and the person up there is marrying them. They're like 2 or 3 floors up.
Oh, man. So I'm gonna have to have like a very uncomfortable conversation with like the photographer, the videographer, the florist. Like all of these people are not W-2 employees, right? So I think
You can have a Zoom wedding.
Yeah.
So I think
like that'd be so fun.
those people are screwed because they get no support from anybody. Right?
Wow. So hang on. Let's hold on just for 1 second. What are you going to do with this wedding? What are you going to do?
Right now, the venue's not letting me postpone yet, but like
When is it?
Where you at? Where you at?
May
It's
17th.
in May. Okay, well, that's pretty close.
So right now they're postponing up until like mid-April. So I think in like 2 weeks, because I don't see this going away in like a month.
Anytime soon.
Yeah. So I
I see it going away.
I
I
mean,
don't. The infection's not going to go away. The virus is not going to go away. I
Yeah.
get
The market's going to be turned on within a month, regardless.
Yeah.
It just
So-
is.
So I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have to reschedule, but then like because they're rescheduling a lot of people right now. And
What state are you in?
Huh?
What state are you in?
I'm in New York.
New York? Oh, okay,
Yeah, where it's the hardest. It's getting hit the hardest. So that's
No, look, my wife's cousin was he and his fiance were getting married. We were going. I had flights scheduled for April 2nd to
Yeah.
go to Phoenix, Arizona, and the event venue canceled, and they said refunded and said, you know, we'll reschedule you out for October. And we had to rework everything, you know, and that started like a month ago.
April to
we were
October?
planning for his wedding. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people that are graduating from high school and college and weddings. There's so many people that are just, you know.
So it's like if I'm gonna probably have to reschedule, but then like there's no way I'm gonna find a day where the venue is open and the photographer and all of like the vendors are open on the same exact day. Like I think that's gonna be pretty rough to schedule something like that. So that means I'm probably gonna have to cancel my contract with most of those people, and they're just gonna lose out on a ton of money. And then also they're not being helped by the government.
You can always elope.
Huh?
You can always elope and go somewhere.
If I'm eloping, the photographer is not coming with me.
Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need people to be there.
I'm saying like those people are going to be screwed the most because they can't get unemployment right now, and they're like all of their clients are canceling for the next 2 months. So
It'll be a year to remember for sure. And when you guys finally do it, you'll have some stories to tell.
maybe in October too.
Wow.
Crazy times. All the stories that are coming from this. I mean, it's just so crazy. It's unbelievable. It's unreal. We should never experience this again in our lifetime. And Jamie Mac,
That's not true. We had Heine, we had swine flu, we had SARS. I mean, we had Ebola. All those made it here.
yeah, but how did SARS affect you?
Well, other than flying into Korea and getting a thermometer stuck up where the sun don't shine. Okay, it was in my ear, but
Sorry to hear
no,
that.
I mean, I wasn't even in the country at the time when it was going on. So, but I'm just saying, all those things made it here, right?
Yeah, but look at the effect, though. I mean, that's
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just saying, there's no guarantee. I mean, with all those could have turned into exactly the same thing. You know what I mean?
could have, but they didn't. And now we're
Right.
Listen,
So,
I
just
mean,
saying, it happens more often than we think.
look, everyone needs to go. Me and my wife watched it the other night. You need to go rent Contagion. That's what y'all need to watch right now.
I think that's
It's unbelievable. It has the World Health Organization. It becomes a pandemic. I mean, the whole deal is laid out. It has the CD so it's Lawrence Fishburne. He works for the CDC, and then then
that one, I think.
what's that?
Is Matt Damon in that one?
Matt Damon's in it.
There is
His
an
wife and
Outbreak is
son.
a really older movie, but yeah.
So
Yeah, Outbreak.
Outbreak. How close is it?
It's really close. It's very eerie. It's very eerie because I think I watched it before I had been through this. Where it became a pandemic, and then I watched it and I'm like, yeah, they're really hitting it close to home. So it was weird.
Weird to watch that sort of stuff. All good. A couple of my family actually eloped as the wedding got canceled. Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, legally, I'm already married, so we were just having it as a celebration. So
no rush.
yeah. So if I push it back,
still open.
It's okay. It's
City Hall is still open. Jeez, come on.
I don't know.
Las Vegas is still open.
Oh yeah, but I saw a video about Las Vegas, and like Las Vegas is getting hit really hard because it's like just all tourists over there. Like right now,
they got drive-through weddings. All you gotta do is show up in a car. You don't gotta touch nothing.
Oh man.
Yep, just say your vows through the window.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think what's going to happen in the next, say in the next month? Give it 30 days from now. Where are we? And the four of us, I'll get the four of us back on another live stream 30 days from now. So the 24th of April. What are your predictions, guys? Let's hear each other. Ben, you're the guest tonight.
30 days from now, I'm gonna be we're gonna be traveling. We're gonna take a trip to the living room. Then we're gonna come to the bedroom. I think we're still gonna be here.
That's too optimistic.
Yeah, I think we're still gonna be. I think we're still gonna be in like a somewhat similar situation in a month from now.
Yeah.
But then again, it's probably like I think New York might have it the worst just because we're so densely populated. And also like we have so many cases right now. So I think New York is probably going to be one of the last cities that they open up again. So to me, I think from where I am, definitely like a month is still going to be like this.
Wow. Dave, what about you in Denver?
I don't think it's going to be a month, but I do believe that they're going to try to extend it because they want to test it out and see whether people are going to get pissed off about it. So you get a little bit of backlash out of it. And I do think they're going to extend it because I think it's till April 4th. If I'm not mistaken, let me say April 4th. No. Yeah, somewhere around there. So yeah, April 4th. So I do think that they're going to extend it just to see whether or not people are going to comply. But I don't think it's going to go to a month, though. That's just what I think.
Wow.
We're still going to have infection. We're still going to have people dying. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be something crazy beyond recognition. That's just what I think.
J-Mac, what do you think?
No, we're talking about the pandemic and not the economy, or are we talking about both?
That's my next question. First, the pandemic. What do you guys think?
Pandemic?
30
it's going to be moved. Like yes, it's gonna move from a federal level to a local and state level, and that's just it. That's gonna happen because
it's the opposite right now.
It's the opposite right now.
It's not nationwide. So
well, listen. I'll tell you this. Here's what just happened in I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And we're the biggest city in the state of North Carolina. And after the news about that, Trump basically is saying, he's basically going to give the reins over to the governors and the local government. I think my state was waiting to see what the response was going to be. Well, so I'm in Mecklenburg County, which is where Charlotte is, and we have the most cases in our state, and it's kind of spreading here. So I think we have 150 cases or something like that. So we're going on lockdown on Thursday. We're going to stay at home, where we got to stay at home for 21 days. But this is only my county. So within my state, the rest of the state, no one else is stay at home. But we're the place where the most cases are. And that's what makes sense to me. And I think that's totally the way we're going. Only where cases are, that's where it's going to be locked down. Everywhere else is going to open back up within 30 days. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to go to a national level. I don't think Trump's going to do it.
Nope, he won't let it.
I mean, some states have like 1 or 2 cases. There's no point of locking down, right? But like, certain areas with like thousands, then definitely but like I said, I'm in New York, so right now I think we have like 20,000 in New York City. So at that point, like they have to, and I think it's going to be like the same. And I think like in Virginia, they only had one case. Like it wouldn't make sense to even shut down for that one case. So it's really going to be like a case by case, like
state by state, and then it's going to come down to county by county.
Yeah, exactly.
And like maybe even city by city. So
nice. All right. So next question is 30 days from now, how's the economy looking? J-Mac, let's start with you. We'll do on this.
Big bounce. Big bounce.
Big bounce.
Well, there's still going to be volatility is going to stay around for a while. And I think you like I've been kind of talking about it, but there's going to be segments of the economy that are going to be just fine, that have even like banking. There's a huge overreaction with banking. I think there's really good, really steals right now in banking, and there's certain segments. Tech is really going to be solid as well. Healthcare is going to be fine as well. But then there's going to be like retail is going to be decimated, and there's going to be, even with like a commercial real estate, a lot of retail won't recover from this. So it's going to be like kind of pick your poison. So I think there's going to be a big bounce in a lot of areas of the economy, and then there's going to be where you find the winners and losers are going to come out of this. But I don't see a major like we're not going. I don't think we're going down 60%, 50% like 08. I mean, now as the foot's taken off the when the economy starts getting turned back on, we're gonna find a big bounce, and because a lot of these small businesses are gonna be able to, like I said, because this is gonna become a grant if you keep your employees. But that's gonna be dependent on if some of these small businesses had some savings. You know what I mean? If they were prepared at all, the ones that were, they're gonna be able to keep their employees, and they're gonna have an infusion from the federal government. Those that weren't prepared, they're going under.
Yeah. All right. All Good's got a question for us, guys. So, J-Mac, since it's still on you, where do you think oil will be in 1 month from now?
Oil is probably going to bounce, I think, as well. But it's going. I think that's going to be more of a global trend. I think the global trend's got to get better, and then I think oil will bounce. But I don't know. I'm not an expert on oil, I'm not heavily. Yeah, I'm not very heavily invested. I only own Chevron, so yeah. I'm not a big. But I think like, I mean, when we got down to like what, $20 a barrel. I mean, it's just obviously that's the bottom.
Like 19 or something.
Yeah, that's the bottom. You're not gonna go any lower than that. Come on.
Yeah, it's pretty low. Dave, what do you think? Economy 1 month from now, 30 days from now. What do you think?
Going back to 08, it's like, you look at that one and what happened then. I remember it like it was yesterday, when, this is much different than 08, but at the same time, it has the potential to be worse. It could be. I don't think it's going to be, but it really depends on how quickly they get things restarted, and also how quickly they keep these, if they can keep these small businesses afloat, basically what J-Mac just said, because it's going to be a cascading effect otherwise. Are the lows in? I don't think so. Things tend to play out a little bit longer than usual. Like people, they see it go down and they think, it's down 35, 40%. I think it was like 37% or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, bottom's in. That's it. We're done. And, you realize that happened in like a month, right? It doesn't happen that fast. People just are so impatient. It takes like, that took like a year for things to play out. It'd come up, just got stable. You think stable, and then another dagger would drop, and then it would leg it down even more. So I do think that maybe we're in a short-term bottom right now, and it could go up the next few days or week or whatever. But I think that could leg down even below that 37%. I don't know if it's going to be a 50%. I can't predict markets. None of us can. So I do have cash laying around. If we get to the 50%, 40 or 50%, I will probably be all out of cash at that point, and I'm happy with it. That's fine. I can't predict a bottom. So I think that this week will be telling on the unemployment. and the stimulus package when that goes through, and what's in it, and how quickly can they get these businesses, keep them afloat. Obviously, a bunch of big companies laid a bunch of people off too, so it's not just the small little businesses, So I think that's what it is. I think that we need to let things play out a bit longer. Let earnings come out in April. Let the earnings come out in June, April, May, June. Yeah, June or July. So let those things come out. Maybe we're gonna have a couple more legs down. I know a lot of people have called for a Dow of 10K, but that seems very far fetched from a 30K down to a 10K. It seems very far fetched, but anything's possible. So
yeah, anything's possible at this point. Ben, what do you think?
I think it still has room to go down, just because, like right now, it does depend on how the government reacts and what they do. They're putting a lot of pressure on people to buy right now, just because they're like decreasing interest rates. The stimulus package is going to cause inflation, so if you hold on to cash, you're kind of just losing money. So that's like one way they're trying to get people to start investing again. But I feel like we still haven't felt like the brunt of the impact of what's happening. Like once people start losing jobs, once companies start declaring bankruptcy, that's when we're going to start actually feeling the effect. None of that stuff has happened yet. Well, some of it has happened yet, but we're still like in the beginning of that happening. So I think in 30 days from now, we'll be at a lower point from where we are today. But it'll be, I would still buy just because, you can't time the bottom. I'm not gonna like dump everything in just because like right now I have a lot of cash just sitting on the sidelines, but I'm going to be like slowly easing in. Like,
so how come you haven't started dumping any in down 37%?
Well, because I feel like I have been buying. I started buying last week, but at that point I wasn't in stocks at all. Like I had zero in stocks. Everything was in real estate. I actually had money saved to actually buy another property, but since real estate in New York has just like completely shut down, like I put all of that money into stocks right now. So, but I'm not like dumping it. Like I'm holding most of it in cash still. And
what do you invest in? ETFs or individual stocks?
Individual stocks.
Okay, so that's what I was. I mean, have you been watching individual stocks? Because, like you were saying, that you don't think some of these companies have felt that. Basically, if you look at, I mean, the top of the market, they're not down 30%, but if you look anywhere with anyone that's B minus credit rating, a lot of these companies are down 70-80%. Well, maybe not after today, but some of the B minus companies, they jumped 20% today. So I think that's why some of these companies have dropped more than they've dropped during 2008 in the last 30 days.
It's overreaction.
So yeah, I don't think some of these smaller companies can't go any lower. If they did, I mean, it's the book value is right now. A lot of these companies are already in it's such a steal right now on some of these, but they could go belly up too. But what I'm saying is the risk reward right now for like. I mean, I recommend investing in quality, but I'm starting to look at some companies that are just dismantled.
Name one or two.
EPR Properties is one. It was down 80%, and it was just because they own experiential properties, right? But they quit. They were about to invest in casinos, and they pulled that off the books, and now they have a $1.5 billion in cash in hand, but they went down 80%. So that's one to name. I think it popped 20% today. So where it was 80% down, now it's 60% down or something like that. So there's some REITs that were just demolished but I think some
those
of that
are way more riskier than like say investing in a quality company that's dumped 50% versus 37% of the overall
Correct.
market, right? And then something like an Amazon or a Walmart. Another good example is all those types of stocks. Microsoft, Apple, they have not declined 37%.
Right, because their balance sheets. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had Air Canada up till not today, but yesterday dropped down by 76% from its 52-week
That's
high.
definitely one that I wouldn't invest in any airline stock or cruise line or hotel right now. But that's me,
Well looked after by the government. Probably, you never know, but not going away. It doesn't pay any type of a dividend, but I mean, the opportunity is there.
What have you been buying, Rick?
I'm sorry?
What have you been buying? I know you're interested now too.
He's been buying white gold.
I've always been quiet, to be honest, watching you guys on the sidelines and watching and learning from you guys. You guys know this a lot better than I do, but you guys know it's just it's always fun listening to what
You're
guys.
the one that doesn't have the W-2 job.
That's me, man. That's me. I like the oils. I'm looking at the Exxon. I'm looking at the BP. I'm looking also here in Canada. I got the Husky Energy, the Suncor as well. Sunoco even is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the two cruise lines. I haven't made any major moves yet. I made a lot of little minor, smaller moves, but nothing big right now.
So those are all the riskier plays. I mean, Chevron did announce that they were going to make sure that they preserve the dividend. So that's like the last, thing to get cut. So they did, do some drawdown and all that, and they say, hey, we're going to preserve the dividend. So hopefully Exxon does the same thing, but those dividends are getting, quite high. So
yeah, great high now on some of them. So, and what Boeing said, no dice on theirs just recently.
Boeing's going to have to do something because they get bailed out. I think that they could probably, they already suspended theirs anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at Ford as well and GM now that they're changing their production, obviously, over to the sanitizers and helping out with what's going on with CV right now. There's opportunities everywhere right now. RioCan is another Canadian REIT that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Big O. Everybody's looking at the Big O, obviously. So Canadian Natural Resources, that's another one I got my eyes on. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of them I'm looking at. I'm gonna make the move pretty soon. Not yet though. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Market timer.
What's that?
You're a market timer.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. And you're right. I should have jumped in. What last week we were saying? Like most of these majority of them are down by 37%. Dave, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the overall market. So if you wanted to invest in an index or something, 30%. So we went up 10% today.
Yeah, but no, I'll be jumping in pretty soon. It's exciting times. It's really exciting times. So, But anyways. So, guys, you know what? Thanks for jumping on. It's like been 2 hours. Sorry, but I mean, this is like, I just want these guys to jump on board and we'll talk. There's so much going on, right? It's just
I don't really know that much about stocks right now, so
these guys do. These guys are amazing at it.
Them jump in, given their insights. It's been really helpful. And right now, like for stocks, I'm like, just like a sponge, just like absorbing the information. So,
listening to these two guys, you're right. We're like sponges, right? Listening to these guys.
Yeah.
So
just the blue chips are where it's at, right? But I mean, like you're saying, they're like if you're willing to take some risks right now, there are some stuff, but you could literally go to zero on something you take risk on right now, no doubt. But you could also double, triple, quadruple your money. So I'm looking at taking a stab in something. I got my brother actually started investing. I had him on a live stream and he wasn't really invested, but now he got all excited when it went down 30%. But he's doing all his risky plays, and now he's got me. So I want to take at least one stab. I was actually looking at, I think one of the best balance sheets of the airlines in America is Alaskan Airlines. So I'm looking at them possibly because I think
they're
actually
out of Seattle. So count that in there just in case.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I expect the airlines to get a bailout, no doubt. Airlines are not going to fail. That's the one infrastructure we're not going to let the airlines fail, so
yeah,
they'll get bailed out.
Yeah. big bounce back day today too, eh? Up 11% from over yesterday, guys. Big day.
Huge, yeah. Should have pulled the trigger yesterday, but it's just so risky. I've been, to pull the trigger on any travel, crew, any of that right now. But if you got a strong stomach, you could do it. But
as long as there's somewhat of a dividend there to help, ease the pain, shall we say? Right. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you so very much. We're just over 2 hours. I told Ben, we'll be like an hour.
All right, I'm gonna jump off too.
I had a good time.
But always a good time listening to you guys, So, and thanks for everybody that joined us tonight and everybody watching in the future. Hopefully you guys got something helpful from all this. And great talking right now. So hopefully a month from now we'll have a much merrier reunion, perhaps, as to what's been going on with the CV and everything else in the economy. So, but anyways, anything you guys want to say? As closing remarks, the four of of us.
I'm good.
Yeah, not really. Just thanks for stopping by, everyone, and thanks for watching. Hopefully this was entertaining for you guys.
Yeah. Dave, anything?
No, I'm a man of one word or two. So
is that it?
Pretty much. I if you looked at my portfolio, I'm not really invested in anything spec at all, other than just like Tesla and one other stock. But it's not even in my dividend portfolio, so I don't even count it.
Got it, J-Mac.
Yeah, look for opportunities right now, and nice to meet you, Ben, and congratulations on the wedding, whenever that may be.
Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you too.
Guys, thank you, J-Mac. Thank you, Dave, for joining us. That's been fantastic. Thanks a lot for everybody that joined us on the stream and made comments. That was really cool. And Ben, thank you very much for being the guest tonight. Definitely. So, all right, everybody, we're going to call it a night, over 2 hours, another marathon. Everybody have a great time. Stay safe. Bye, everybody.
Bye.